Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam and Inayet. It's good to be back on the show once again.
Yes, Mohammed, always wonderful having you with us on the show now. I see we've got quite a bit we are covering on the show this afternoon by way of both local and international stories. Alhamdulillah, we've got quite a good mix. We've got a fair mix that will take us through right until iftar time at around 5 to 6 in Johannesburg. But looking at some of the topics that you've chosen this afternoon, and we know one of the big talking points now again has been a vaccine and vaccine registration for COVID-19 for elderly South Africans, Mohammed.
That's right, Uncle Inayet. So speaking about COVID-19 vaccine and amidst all the ongoing debacle with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine rollout, however, as from 4 p.m. this afternoon, so as we speak, the registration for elderly South Africans for the second phase of the country's vaccine program has in fact started. And according to the Health Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, this is in fact in preparation for the next phase of South Africa's COVID-19 vaccine rollout program. Now, in order for elderly South Africans to register for this particular second phase of the country's vaccine rollout, a person must have his or her ID as well as medical aid card whilst registering online. But also the registration does not, and this is perhaps the disclaimer from the department side, that registration does not guarantee that one will be vaccinated immediately. And once again, amidst the ongoing issues with the Johnson Johnson vaccine rollout, with the side effects, we don't know when the actual rollout and actual vaccination program will start. However, the registration process for elderly South Africans has started as we are currently speaking tonight. Speaking about the private and public sector patients, according to the health minister, there would be no difference between elderly South Africans seeking medical attention either from the private or the public sector. Or from the public sector, in fact, and the patient's data would not be shared with any third party whilst registering. And this is, of course, according to the health department. Furthermore, according to the department's acting chief operating officer, that's Melanie Wolmerans, this is not only a registration platform, but it also allows the department to communicate via SMS, to tell those elderly South Africans who have registered, which vaccination site to go to, at what time, and all sorts of information related to vaccination.
So, Mohammed, all of this is quite interesting. And when we see what has happened with the vaccine rollout for the essential services and the healthcare workers, and obviously that hasn't been completed as well. And we know they were called to register as well. So, obviously, I think people will look at this registration once again with a level of skepticism as to whether it will really happen or it won't happen after you've registered.
Precisely, and denied, and it's ironic and it's such a coincidence that the registration process, to be started, it starts today, but it coincides with the ongoing debacle with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine and the side effects associated with the vaccine. So once again, the issue of South Africans, elderly South Africans, or South Africans in general, being skeptical to actually register. That's precisely the point at the moment. Again, night.
Yes. Now, Mohammed, just moving on and looking at Section 25 of the Constitution to be possibly amended. Now, you are a legal eagle, and I'm sure you must have looked at this particular Section 25. What's it all about?
At the moment, so in United Section 25 of the Constitution is known as it's the property section, and it's obviously a heated topic in South Africa because amendment to Section 25 of the Constitution will allow the state to explicitly expropriate land without compensation. So at the moment, land can be expropriated by the state for various reasons without going into much details. But at the moment, as Section 25 stands of the Constitution, the state has to compensate the party from which the expropriation of the land is taking place. But amendment to the to Section 25 of the Constitution, whenever that takes place, will in fact allow the state to explicitly expropriate land without compensation. And in fact, today Parliament has adopted a report on public submissions on amending that particular section. Now, the ad hoc committee will initiate and introduce a legislation amending Section 25. So in order to amend that particular section, you have to introduce a legislation to proceed with the amendment. And that ad hoc committee, in fact, met today, and they will now, in fact, draft the long-awaited constitutional amendment. And according to that committee's chairperson, Dr. Mocheka, and just to quote a part of the statement, the adoption of this report will open the door for us, that's for the committee, to begin with the consideration of the draft amendment bill based on the public inputs and submissions by government departments. So just to clarify and summarize the adoption of the report by the parliament. So we cannot say at this point in time when, in fact, Section 25 will be amended to allow expropriation without compensation. But this process actually allows the committee to adopt legislation to start the procedure to amend Section 25 of the Constitution.
Mohammed, let's move on and let's talk about Jesse Duarte. Now, we know with with ANC, with 8 Makashule, we know exactly what the situation is. Sorry about that. But looking at Jesse Duarte, and many people thought, where does Jesse stand in the entire debacle on what has been playing out as far as Zondo is concerned, as far as Jacob Zuma is concerned, as far as 8 is concerned. We are now learning that Jesse Duarte has been calling out the Zondo Commission.
Precisely, Inayet. But before we actually go to Jesse Duarte calling out the Zondo Commission, you recall, and we discussed this in the passing yesterday when she actually called out and spoke against her boss, the Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, and also his supporters for not respecting party procedures. That's amidst the looming step aside date that's set for end of this month. But moving from there, she has now taken. She has said that she's really disappointed with the Zondo Commission, with the State Capture Commission, and she's calling the Zondo Commission, asking, or rather calling them out to look at the ANC, or according to her, the Zondo Commission is looking at the ANC through jaundiced eyes, and according to her, she's really disappointed how it's dealing with the ANC, through the testimonies and through evidence being given at the Zondo Commission. And she's also, in fact, accusing some of the advocates presenting the cases, and she's calling them to be biased against the ANC. And according to her, this will in fact have a direct impact on the outcome of the commission, for the party and for the country in its entirety. However, she actually praised the commission. We discussed this yesterday. Gwede Mantashe, the party's chairperson, was testifying at the Zondo Commission, but she said that after looking at the testimony and the evidence provided by Gwede Mantashe, she actually said that this could actually benefit the ANC in the long run. So in that sense, she praised the commission for its work, but overall, according to her, the commission is biased against the ANC.
Right, and then we've got 2 more issues to look at. One being the bullying victim, Lufuno Mavunga. Apparently, he's been laid to rest. What were some of the issues there, Mohammed?
In Kinayat, it was a very emotional afternoon. Before Juma and before we actually started praying Juma at Salam Media here, we were watching the memorial service very closely. Many teachers and colleagues of the late 15-year-old speaking about her legacy and her life, and it was a very emotional moment, emotional afternoon. In fact, I remember one of her friends actually could not proceed with her speech, as a result of emotional outbreak, and she had to be taken off the stage. But nonetheless, on Inayet, the 15-year-old Lufuno Mavunga was laid to rest today. And this, of course, when, this is a teenager that took her life earlier this week when a video went viral on social media, and we saw a fellow pupil attacking her continuously. So she was laid to rest today, and the teenager who assaulted the late Lufuno has been since arrested.
Right, and then just finally looking at Pakistan, violent protests.
Yes, so the ongoing protests in Pakistan. But before we go into the details of the protests in Inayet, the Pakistani government today ordered several hours long shutdown of social media. That's your Facebook, your Twitter, as well as your instant messaging apps, and this after the ongoing protests by various Pakistani groups and Pakistani nationals against French nationals and companies present in the country. And this, of course, amidst the ongoing anti-Islamic and the ongoing Islamophobia in France. And in fact, we're going to be speaking with Daryl Brett Smith at 5:15 this evening. And that's the how the French President Emmanuel Macron has been using local media to further push anti-Islamic sentiments. So the protests in Pakistan at the moment continuing as we speak, but that's against French companies and French nationals present in the country. But I'm not sure when the Pakistani government called for the blockage of various social media platforms. They did not specify any reasons, but it's quite clear, perhaps, that many times these social media platforms, be it instant messaging and other platforms, they are occasionally used to mobilize protesters. And given that today was Friday, day of Jummah, I'm assuming, and this is my take, that it would have been easier for these groups to mobilize more protesters. So that's my understanding of the ban of these various social media platforms.
Well, Mohammed, shukran to you and Jazakallah khairan so much, obviously, for spending the last few minutes with us on the Iftar Drive, and obviously for coming up with all the stories that we have covered. And obviously, in terms of the production, there's a lot more to come on the show this afternoon in terms of looking at the Uyghur Muslims. What does Ramadan mean for them? Also looking at Stephen McGowan, Al-Qaeda hostage, longest held serving Al-Qaeda hostage. And later on, as you mentioned, Daryl Bradford Smith right up to the Nasiha. And the time for Iftar at around 5:55, which is at around 5 to 6, inshallah, here in Joburg. But Mohammed, have yourself a wonderful weekend, inshallah. And looking forward to your company once again on the Iftar Drive on Monday.
Thank you, and good night. You too have a wonderful weekend, and inshallah, we shall speak on Monday.
Jazakallah. All the best to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
This is the Iftar Drive on Salam Media, 4 to 5:30 p.m.
From the townships of South Africa, the refugee camps in Syria, or orphanages in Yemen, the eyes of the needy speak volumes with just one glare. We know what it's like to be at ground zero, with food essentials, clothing and blankets, fresh water portal trucks, and even on-site navigators. We use every cent to better their tomorrow. Become part of our journey to bring relief to all. Go to www.ashrafulaid.org or call us on 011-809-8181. Ashraful Aid, under the auspices of Maulana Suhail Wadi.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excel in customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011-614-3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
Would you like to give Sadaqah 365 days a year? You can with the Al Imdad Foundation's Daily Sadaqah program. Donate as little as R1 a day for a month for each member of your family, up to any specified amount, and receive monthly feedback on where your contributions have made a difference. Visit alimdad.com and download your Daily Sadaqah debit order form or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Freedom Stationery supply Marlin and Marlin Kids pens to me and my school friends. They supply just about everything we need to help us get a better education. from books to files to rulers. In fact, any any accessory we need. Freedom Stationery. Education for the nation. What does accessory mean?
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
The time is just gone 20 minutes past 4 p.m. as we continue this afternoon with the Iftar Drive. And today we are taking a look as part of our international stories featuring the month of Ramadan. And we're looking at Ramadan for the people in the Xinjiang region, in the East Turkestan region of China. And here we are talking about the Uyghur Muslims. And we joined this afternoon by Nijat Turgun from the Uyghur Education Association in Sweden, taking a closer look at Ramadan in that part of the world. Nijat, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Thanks for having me.